The Committee on Banking and Insurance will now come to order. Maura, please call the roll.
Chair Gruters,
Here.
Vice Chair Sharif, Senator Boyd, Senator Burton, Senator Hooper, Senator Martin, Senator Osgood, Senator Pasadomo, Senator Pizzo is excused, Senator Trunow, quorum is present.
Please silence all electronic devices. Anyone wishing to speak before the committee should complete an appearance form and hand it to a member of the sergeant's office. Should you select to waive your speaking time, your position will be included in the committee meeting records. Before we begin, please show tab 9, SPB 7042 on legal tender is temporarily postponed. We have several senators that are presenting in other committees. We'll adjust the agenda order accordingly. And please show tab 7, Senate Bill 1380, TP. First, we'll take up tab 1, CS for SB 326 on curators of estates by Senator Burgess. Senator Burgess, you are recognized to explain the bill.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Senators. This is a modernization of the curator statute, Florida's probate code, by clarifying when a curator may be appointed, refining the definitions of curators, what they may and may not do, and what oversight of a curator must be done. That is the bill.
Are there questions on the bill? Reagan Mullins, waving in support. Any debate on the bill? Senator Burgess, you are recognized to close on the bill.
Waive close.
Amora, please call the roll on CS for SB 326.
Senator Boyd, Senator Burton, Senator Hooper, Senator Martin, Senator Osgood, Senator Pasadomo, Senator Pizzo, Senator Trunow, Vice Chair Sharif, Chair Gruters.
Yes, and by your vote, CS for SB 326 is reported favorably. Next, we'll take up tab 6. Senate Bill 1256 on pharmacy audits by Senator Grahl. Senator Grahl, you are recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Committee, for considering this morning. The purpose of this legislation is to ensure that PBM audits of pharmacies are conducted uniformly, transparently, and fairly across all types of pharmacies. It requires that auditors apply uniform audit standards, scope, frequency, and penalties. The audit standards contemplated in this legislation apply to all pharmacies in the PBM network, including independent pharmacies, PBM-owned pharmacies, and PBM-affiliated pharmacies. The bill addresses how audits are conducted and provides pharmacies with the appropriate due process in an audit situation. That is the bill.
Are there questions on the bill? We got Kevin Duane speaking. And you are recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Senators. Thank you for taking up this important legislation today in the committee. I want to be direct. By standing here today, I feel like I might be painting a target on my back because currently in the state of Florida, there's no limits on audit frequency or audit scope. So any insurance company that doesn't like what I have to say here today can audit me every day with every single one of my claims, just bury me in paperwork. But I'm here anyway because I think that patients deserve access to community pharmacies, and I think that someone needs to say what I'm going to say out loud. We support this bill as pharmacists because we want to highlight 3 important problems that it addresses. 3 companies control 80% of the insurance market, and each owns a PBM but also operates pharmacies. So they can audit me while owning their own stores. When they hit me with very strict audits, maybe patients might switch to one of the stores that they own, and then they recapture all of those fees. In this state, auditors can also be paid by a commission or a percentage of recovery amount. So it's kind of like a speed trap that I used to get hit on when I drove to Gainesville from Jacksonville. I can settle for less money or I can spend more money fighting, but the auditor can still get a percentage either way. But these companies too, their pharmacies can also be hit for massive fraud settlements, and I think that, you know, me just searching the first page of Google shows that some of these massive pharmacies that also own PBMs have settled with the federal government for hundreds of millions. There was one settlement that was more than $1 billion. So they're settling their own fraud cases while, purporting to find fraud in pharmacies like ours. But this bill looks to fix this. Things like if, small clerical errors where the patient got the medication and derived benefit from it, they can no longer take the full weight of all of the medicine cost. And, right now in this state, there's no enforcement. They can really violate existing audit statute, and there's really no, recourse for us. But critically, and I really want to be clear about this, all the protections for rooting out fraud are preserved. Criminal investigations, the Medicaid Fraud Control Unit, all of that stuff is exempt. So they just need to say that it's a fraud investigation and why. Right now, we see a lot where they'll call an audit a fraud, waste, or abuse audit and use that to kind of sidestep the current regulations that Florida has. And I know that, there were questions maybe I read in the analysis about the sampling size. And I think it's important that, if fraud is suspected, there's no kind of cap or limit. It just stops phishing expeditions. Right now, there's no limit, so they could audit me tens of thousands of claims. And they could audit me every single week and really bury me. So we really appreciate this in regards to the fair treatment for all pharmacies, eliminating those conflicts of interest, and making penalties proportionate and creating that enforcement framework. Pharmacies in Florida provide critical services, especially in rural areas, and fair audits protect integrity of the pharmacy system, but without destroying pharmacy practices over simple clerical errors. So I thank you for the support of your bill, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding it.
Thanks so much. Kelly Millette, representing Florida Pharmacy Association, waiving in support. And Reagan Mullins, waiving in support. Thank you. Any debate on the bill? Senator Grahl, you're recognized to close on the bill.
Waive close.
Amora, please call the roll on SB 1256.
Senator Boyd? Yes. Senator Burton? Senator Hooper? Yes. Senator Martin? Yes. Senator Osgood? Yes. Senator Passidomo? Yes. Senator Pizzo? Senator Trudeau? Yes. Vice Chair Sharif? Yes. Chair Gruters?
Yes, and by your vote, Senate Bill 1256 is reported favorably. Next, we'll take up tab 2. Senate Bill 598, Funeral, Cemetery, and Consumer Services by Senator Trudeau. Senator Trudeau, you're recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Chairman. Senate Bill 598 makes a few updates to Florida law governing licensed funeral and cemetery service providers. Key provisions of the bill include limiting exclusive contracts between funeral or cemetery licensees and certain service providers. The bill revises licensure requirements and procedures for funeral directors, embalmers, direct disposers, and cemetery establishments, including updates to endorsement and renewal criteria. We are trying to incentivize a pipeline of future professionals in the industry. Senate Bill 598 also updates the handling of unclaimed human remains, allowing licensed providers to dispose of the remains after a specified period if no legal authorized person provides direction. Overall, Senate Bill 598 aims to streamline regulation, modernize consumer protections, and improve administrative efficiencies within Florida's funeral and cemetery services framework, and that is the bill.
There is one amendment. Take up amendment barcode 834316 by Senator Trudeau. Senator Trudeau, you are recognized to explain the amendment.
Thank you, Chairman. Barcode 834316. This amendment removes provisions in the bill dealing with caps on damages in civil suits and removes language phasing out direct disposers. Working with stakeholders, we could not come to an agreement on those provisions, and we removed that. And that is the amendment.
Are there questions on the amendment? Yes. Senator Boyd, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator Trudeau. Sorry I didn't get a chance to talk to you before this, but could you answer this question? I had someone bring this to me and found it a little bit odd, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Anywhere in this bill is it allowed that one could bury a loved one or a friend or whatever on their own property, be it small or large?
Senator Trudeau, you're recognized. You can go back and forth as needed.
I think there's not in the bill, but I think there's a way for you to do that under the law currently, but no, we don't have anything in the bill specifically.
So, Ms. Follow-up. Thank you. So to be clear, sorry if that was a question that kind of went around the horn there, but so to be clear, this bill doesn't allow or disallow a person from burying someone on their property.
Not that I'm aware of.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Any debate on the amendment? Senator Trudeau, you're recognized to close on the amendment.
Waive close.
All in favor of the amendment say yea. All those opposed, the amendment is adopted. Are there questions on the bill as amended? Yes, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Senator Trudeau, I deal a lot with McWhite's Funeral Home in my area, and a lot of elderly people who are getting services through end of life care providers, and sometimes certain funeral homes have contracts or agreements with those end of life care providers. Would this bill prohibit them from doing that? Like if I'm a funeral director and I have a contract with some entity that provides hospice care, would this bill negate that director from making those contracts and those arrangements?
Senator Trudeau, you're recognized and you go back and forth with Senator Osgood as needed.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Senator, for the question. No, it doesn't.
Thank you.
Any further questions? We have Timothy Kitchen waiving in support. And we have Heather Bernier, Independent Funeral Directors of Florida, waiving in support. Thank you. Is there any debate on the bill as amended? Senator Trudeau, you recognize. One more.
Waive close.
We have, I think it's Rich Meadows, FCCFA, waiving in support. Last minute waive. Thank you. Senator Trudeau, you're recognized to close on the bill as amended.
Waive closed.
Amora, please call the roll on CS for SB 598.
Senator Boyd? Senator Burton? Senator Hooper? Senator Martin? Senator Osgood? Senator Passidomo? Senator Pizzo? Senator Trudeau? Vice Chair Sharif? Chair Gruters.
Yes, and by your vote, CS for SB 598 is reported favorably. Next, we'll take up tab 3, Senate Bill 632 on Transportation Network, Company Driver and Vehicle Owner Insurance by Senator DeSigley. Senator DeSigley, you're recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Senators. Senate Bill 632 updates Florida law governing insurance coverage for transportation network companies. Think of Lyft, think of Uber, by creating clear requirements for the period after a ride is accepted, but before the passenger enters the vehicle. During that phase, the bill requires $50,000 bodily injury, $100,000 bodily injury per crash, $25,000 property damage, personal injury protection, and uninsured motorist coverage. Coverage may be provided by the driver, vehicle owner, or the TNC or combination. Once a passenger is in the vehicle, the existing $1 million liability requirement remains unchanged. Mr. Chairman, that is the bill.
Are there questions on the bill? We have Matthew Pusgay. And you are recognized, sir.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Senators. My name is Matthew Posgay. I'm a lawyer in Jacksonville, Florida, and I have represented people who have been injured by companies driving these cars on their way to get people. And the compromise that you all reached almost 10 years ago for liability insurance was a good compromise, and it's worked for Floridians for almost 10 years. There's no need to change it and decrease the coverage when this is one of the most dangerous times for drivers rushing to pick people up before their trip is canceled. Once they pick you up, they're driving better. But it's common sense that when they're rushing, several cars rushing to pick somebody up, they're going to be driving a bit more dangerously and negligently to get you. And to decrease the need for liability insurance during that dangerous time just doesn't make sense. There's no legitimate basis for it, and we would ask you to vote no on this bill. Thank you.
Matthew Van Name. Waiving in support. Any debate on the bill? Senator DeSigley, you are recognized to close on the bill.
I'll have to waive close.
Amora, please call the roll on Senate Bill 632.
Senator Boyd? Senator Burton? Senator Hooper? Senator Martin? Senator Osgood? Senator Passidomo? Senator Pizzo? Senator Trudeau? Vice Chair Sharif? Chair Gruters.
Yes, and by your vote, Senate Bill 632 is reported favorably.
Thank you.
Next, we'll take up tab 4, CS for SB 786 on trusts by Senator Berman. Senator Berman, you are recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I just want you all to know, for my last bill for the reptile section, this is a really simple bill. So I'm very happy I don't have to talk in esoteric terms anymore. This bill, all it does is it modernizes trust law by creating a simple procedure for closing out a trust and discharging a trustee when there is no dispute. Under current law, there is not a procedure. Beneficiaries have to spend money to thousands of dollars and months of time. And the result is that the trust asset gets unnecessarily consumed by legal and accounting fees. This bill establishes a statutory non-judicial process that allows eligible trustees to provide full disclosure to beneficiaries and obtain a discharge without going to court unless, of course, a beneficiary objects. If the beneficiary does object, they can easily opt out with a simple written objection, triggering existing court protections. If no objection is made, the trustee concludes the trust administration efficiently. That is the bill, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Are there questions on the bill? Ann Michelle Pilecki, Florida Banker Association, waiving in support. Martha Edenfield, Real Property Probate and Trust Law Section of the Florida Bar, waiving in support. Is there debate on the bill? Senator Berman, you are recognized to close on the bill.
Waive close, Mr. Chair.
Amora, please call a roll on CS for SB 786.
Senator Boyd. Senator Burton. Senator Hooper. Senator Martin. Senator Osgood. Senator Passidomo. Senator Pizzo. Senator Trunell. Vice Chair Sharif. Chair Gruters.
Yes, and by your vote, CS for SB 786 is reported favorably. Thank you. Next, we'll take up tab 5, Senate Bill 1110 on coverage for orthotics and prosthetics services by Senator Trunell. Senator Trunell, you are recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Chairman. Members, Senate Bill 1110 authorizes Medicaid to cover specified orthotics and prosthetics and directs the Agency for Health Care Administration to seek federal approval and update managed care and free for service contracts accordingly. It requires individual and group health insurance policies and HMO contracts to cover medically necessary orthotics and prosthetics without lifetime or continuous use caps. It also bars insurers and HMOs from denying claims when such devices are needed to restore or maintain physical function for people with disabilities, and mandates annual reporting on orthotics and prosthetics coverage and payments. Members, that is the bill.
Thank you, Senator Trunell. And I see there's a delete all amendment. Let's take amendment barcode 277724 by Senator Trunell. Senator Trunell, you're recognized to explain the amendment if it's any different than what you just explained.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. And barcode's 277724. This amendment simply clarifies the eligible person, the child under 18 years of age, college-aged children up to 26 when living at home, disabled, handicapped adults. And that is the amendment.
Are there questions on the amendment? Any debate on the amendment? Senator Trunell, you're recognized to close on the amendment.
Waive close.
All in favor of the amendment say yea.
Yay.
All those opposed, the amendment is adopted. Are there questions on the bill as amended? We have several speaker forms. We have Kim Rawls speaking, Amputee Coalition of America. And you are recognized.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to speak. My son Ben was diagnosed with bone cancer at the age of 6. My family was thrown into chemotherapy hospitals and fear overnight. Ben a few months later, was amputated of his right leg. After cancer treatment, we thought our battles were over, but they just began. Ben was 6. He had an amputation, and he wanted to go play with his friends. Insurance only would cover a prosthetic leg that allowed him to walk, not run, not play sports. Only because of prosthetic companies did Ben receive a running leg. Running leg cost about $5,000. Ben broke 10 of them, and every single time he broke them, the insurance companies stepped up, and I'm sorry, the prosthetic companies stepped up and provided another one. Insurance companies refused to pay. They said that a running leg was not medically necessary for a child to go out and play or run. Ben, with his running blade, played tennis, baseball, table tennis, he snow skis. He went viral twice on his running blade participating in sports, which shows that if a child has access to prosthetic devices that are appropriate for their sports, they can thrive. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tobias King. You are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank you guys for giving me this opportunity to speak today about this bill. My name is Tobias King. I'm a senior at North Florida Christian School here in Tallahassee. I do live with a prosthetic leg. I was born with fibular hemimelia in my right leg. Parts of my lower leg and foot never formed. When I was 10 months old, surgeons amputated my foot, and since then, hospitals, appointments, and surgeries were most of my childhood. This April, I will face my 4th surgery. I hope it will be my last. Some prosthetics do more than help me walk. They help me participate. One of those is my running blade, which this bill defines as an activity limb. That blade's changed what I believed about myself. Before I had it, I stood on sidelines. I watched my friends run laps, play games, and join sports. I wanted to join them, though my body did not cooperate. After I received my blade, I stepped onto the field with them. I ran, not the fastest, maybe not first place, yet I finished. For the first time, I felt included instead of different. Research shows that children who take part in sports and physical activity build stronger mental health, higher confidence, and better academic performance. I felt those changes firsthand. My grades improved, my friendships grew, I stopped seeing my leg as a limit and started seeing myself as capable. Many families face costs in the thousands or tens of thousands of dollars for these devices. Insurance often labels them as extras or recreational. Families then face a choice between finances and their child's quality of life. No parent should ever, ever face that choice. This bill helps fix that gap. It treats activity limbs as medical needs, not add-ons. It gives kids like me a fair shot at a normal childhood. It gives parents relief. It gives students the chance to run, play, and grow alongside their peers. I stand here today because someone invested in my mobility. I think about my future, not my limits. Many other kids deserve the same chance. You hold the power to make that happen, so please support this bill. Help more young people step off the sidelines and into their lives. Thank you for the time and for listening to my story.
Thank you. Ansel Meadows Rader. Yes. And you are recognized.
I do gymnastics. I have some special prosthetics. They help me with gymnastics. The other ones are very heavy, and it's like it makes it so that I can do lots of stuff, even though I have two legs that was born with like this. And when I compete in gymnastics, it's important because then other kids with limb differences can see what they are capable of, and that they can also can also be confident and learn and grow and have fun. Oh yeah. So also we're trying to we're trying to get paragymnastics into the Paralympics, and we're trying to get that in and have the first Paralympic gymnastics be in Brisbane in 2032. But we need more kids, and since blades cost a lot, it's not lot. I don't what. Since blades cost so much, that's kind of like a limitation because they have to be able to pay for them, and also if there's not that many people there, it's not gonna be that great of a thing.
Great job. Thank you for your. Melissa Meadows. You're recognized.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Ansel's mom. I'm very proud. But I wanted to tell you guys some more things just from the perspective of a mother and sort of what families are facing. So Ansel was born at 32 weeks, and he was born missing the lower parts of both legs. We don't know why. We don't have a diagnosis. And, that was really hard. But he has shown us all through his life how strong and how capable he is. And I just think that everyone deserves the chance to thrive in the way that he has. He got his first prosthetic legs when he was 11 months old. And he has needed a new complete set of legs between every 6 months to a year is typical for a growing child. As you guys know, walking legs are considered medically necessary and required to be covered by insurance. However, it is common that the 20% coinsurance payment falls on the family. For a child who needs 2 prosthetic legs, that cost is about $10,000 per year. So over the course of Ansel's life, we have already spent about $100,000 on prosthetics for everyday life, and that is with insurance coverage. Currently, prosthetics for activities like gymnastics, like running, baseball, all of that would fall completely on families to pay for out of pocket. For 2 prosthetic legs, and I just had our prosthetist give us an estimate for what the current gymnastics legs that he's wearing right now, which fortunately we didn't have to pay for because we got private foundation sponsorship. Before that, there was no way. But they're about $45,000. And so no family, unless you're incredibly wealthy, can do that. It's not possible. And so, yeah, he started taking gymnastics only about 2.5 years ago. He was immediately put on the competitive team because he has a natural talent. This child taught himself to do a handstand at around 2 years old. So close to the same time he learned to walk, he learned to do a handstand entirely on his own and walk on his hands. So they put him on the competitive team. We found very quickly that the everyday prosthetics were very heavy and for a variety of reasons not ideal for gymnastics. And so I started trying to find how we could make this happen for him. Fortunately, I was able to find a private foundation that specifically provides sports prosthetics for children. But not every child, not every family can get sponsored. There's just not enough money, there's not enough, foundations. It's just simply not possible, for them to do all of that for everyone. And so what I am asking is that you support this bill and make it possible for more families to be able to get these activity prosthetics. Just like if you are a runner, right, and you have an injury from running, you want to get back to running, right? Your insurance doesn't say, oh, we won't cover your surgery because it's not medically necessary for you to run, will they? They will cover that surgery. And just like they will cover your surgery so that you can run, these children deserve to have their prosthetic legs covered so that they can run, so that they can thrive, so that they can develop the balance, the strength, and the confidence like my child has today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Joe Kalicki? You are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity to speak. My name is Joe Kalicki. I was born and raised here in Tallahassee, and I've been an amputee for 33 years since I was 11 months old. When I was a very young person, playing baseball and basketball helped me feel equal to my classmates and friends. It helped me develop social skills and made me fall in love with sports for the rest of my life. In order to get the athletic equipment I needed as a teenager when I needed to compete with my able-bodied peers, I had to become sponsored by the company who built my leg, since insurance would not pay for a leg built for running and other athletic events. These opportunities are rare and not accessible to the vast majority of young people. Most people are unaware that today most insurers don't even fully cover prosthetics intended for everyday use. Under an Aetna or a Florida Blue, I faced $15,000 to $20,000 out-of-pocket costs just to maintain the ability to work and walk, and athletic limbs are outright rejected. This makes it nearly impossible for many amputees to maintain a level of physical activity that will prevent health issues down the line. The bill before you focuses first on our amputee youth. I encourage you to pass this bill to ensure kids have access to the equipment they need to have a normal and active childhood, develop healthy habits, and set themselves up for success as adults. Thank you.
Thank you. Olivia Keller. Thank you, Olivia. You're recognized.
Thank you. I haven't seen a lot of you in a while. It's good to be back. Olivia rebranded, different name, different organization, but good to be back. As all of you are very well aware, I was born missing a few parts, and while this bill does not specifically benefit me, I do experience a lot of these same issues. There is not one device that replaces full function. So even with me as a chair user, this is my everyday use chair, but there's a different chair that I use for wheelchairs. And insurance does not cover all of these costs. All of us bear out-of-pocket expenses. And for all the talk that we're hearing recently about, healthy living and exercise and food is medicine and movement is medicine, we agree with that. but this community is being left out. We are not being provided the tools that we need in order to do that. And if there was one leg that worked for everything, that would be great. But we can't go down to the body shop and just pick out a leg that does everything. So people need access to these devices. And we're not talking about a huge population here. Estimates are somewhere between 5 million and 10 million people across the country are missing limbs, either due to congenital, such as myself, or have lost limbs. So that's not just in Florida, that is across the country. And I think the bill analysis was very reflective of that, that the fiscal impact to Medicaid through this is hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're not talking millions of dollars. We've done fiscal analyses, so this bill has passed in 12 other states. We're hoping that Florida will be lucky 13, and the House bill number is actually 1301, so I'm hoping that is a sign. But the fiscal impact of this is not high. The per month, per member premium increase is change. We're talking anywhere from a penny to $1 increase per member per month premium increases. But the cost benefits down the road for preventing diabetes, preventing additional compound disabilities later in life because people aren't being given these tools could have substantial savings in the long term. So we're really hoping that you will support this bill, that you will give people the tools that they need in order to be active and participate like anyone else. Just to kind of build off of Melissa's story real quick, of, you know, if you were to injure yourself and needed surgery, most people would consider it pretty absurd if you went into the emergency room with a torn ACL and all they did was hand you a knee brace and some crutches and say, well, good luck, you don't need an ACL. It's not medically necessary in your life. You can function with crutches if you're not an athlete. But that is what we are doing to people missing limbs. I don't use prostheses. Obviously, they are not beneficial to me. But my right leg, I have had like 30 surgeries, and they will continue to do surgery as needed to try to maintain my function in that leg. And it's probably been millions of dollars over the course of my life. So when somebody has a limb, we'll keep investing in that to repair and therapy and infections and deal with all of those things. But the second someone makes the decision or put it in that position where there are no other options left, they go through the amputation, we'll give them the minimum that they need to live their lives, and then we just kind of cut them off and leave them on their own. So we would like to see that cycle end. So thank you for your support.
Thank you. Peter Quintanilla, International Institute of Orthotics and Prosthetics, waving in support. Keegan Allison, waving in support. Is there debate on the bill as amended? Yes, Senator Boyd, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator Trunoff, for this bill. And thank you to the adults that testified today. More importantly, thank you to you two young men, Ansel and I believe Tobias. You're amazing young people, and your stories are just incredible. You've got a lot of courage, you've got a lot of faith, you've got a lot of hope, and you will be wildly successful in life, I am sure. But thank you for being here today and telling your story. It means a lot to us.
Senator Hooper, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I echo Senator Boyd's comments. I noticed sometimes some of you were here yesterday for committees. Sometimes we are all not paying close attention as presenters come before us. This entire committee was paying attention. And to Senator Trunow, you, sir, filed a great number of bills. Some of them are sporty, some of them are complicated. I'm going to say, sir, this may be the most important bill that you will pass in your legislative career, and I'm going to be honored to support your bill. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Hooper. Senator Osgood, you're recognized.
Thank you, and I have to give my shout out to the amazing young people that came up and told your stories. These meetings are recorded, so you were blasted out on the Florida channel having courage and speaking and giving voice. If you don't tell us how to help you, we don't know because we don't have your lived experience. So I commend you for your bravery this morning, for you coming forward. And the young man that asked about the Olympics, you can see Senator Gruters. He's loaded. He'll write you a check after this meeting.
Great recommendation. Senator Sharif, you're recognized.
Wow. I just wanted to say that being in healthcare, you know, I see a lot of kids with disabilities, and I always call them special abilities, and you've proven that today. When you came up here and you so bravely talked about wanting to compete in the Olympics, I just felt very moved and I'm inspired by your story, and very, very motivated to help. And so I am so happy to support this bill today, and I will be putting in a co-sponsorship of this bill for my good friend, Senator Trudeau, and all of his efforts and yours. So thank you very much for coming forth.
Senator Burton, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chair. And I think, clearly, we were moved, and audience members, I saw people wiping their eyes as well. We're all moved by the stories, and we're immensely grateful that you all came and shared your stories. In case there's somebody out there listening who doesn't care about stories, I think our last presenter laid the facts out very, very well, as she often does, as she always does, that if we care about healthcare and we care about the health of individuals, this is an issue that directly implicates somebody's health, the ability to move. It implicates their cardiovascular health moving into adulthood. It implicates, their overall health for many, many reasons. Certainly, everybody's mental health. We are all implicated by the inability to move sometimes. But imagine living your life like that, and then having sometimes, fortunately, a mom or another family member or a caregiver who loves you and is willing to fight the fight. Not everybody has that. Not everybody has that. And I think because we talk a lot about the fiscal impact of things that we do, the fiscal impact of this, even though this is banking and insurance, not a fiscal committee, is de minimis. The long-term impacts of not providing the appropriate prosthetics that somebody might need could far outweigh, fiscally, if we want to go down that lane, let's just common sense here, folks, it could far outweigh the de minimis investment that is made when somebody is originally needing prosthetics, even if they're not young, right? Because people are able to work when that happens. But for young people in particular to grow, to be healthy, it's a wonder. Thank you, Senator Trudeau, for bringing this good bill to us. And, I always tell people, who we like to visit places we haven't been and hear stories of folks who are not in our lives because, as Senator Osgood so eloquently put, it's not our lived experience. So thank you for being here today. And again, thank you also for presenting the practicalities of why this is good policy moving forward. Obviously, I'm supporting the bill.
Thank you. Senator Trudeau, thank you for the bill. You are now recognized to close on the bill as amended.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, we all come up here to work on good policy and look for things that make a difference in moving the needle, and this is one of those. I want to thank all the folks that were involved with this legislation. I want to thank the folks that came up to speak today. I have a little story. I had a farm in Tennessee for many years, and the guy that ran the farm, he didn't have any legs. He ran the farm for years. I mean, you think about the challenges everyone has and how they get their job done and what they believe in, and this is real. So I thank everyone today, and let's move this forward.
Amora, please call the roll and CS for SB 1110.
Senator Boyd? Yes. Senator Burton? Yes. Senator Hooper? Yes. Senator Martin? Yes. Senator Osgood? Yes. Senator Passidomo? Yes. Senator Pizzo? Senator Trudeau? Yes. Vice Chair Sharif? Yes. Chair Gruters?
Yes, and by your vote, CS for SB 1110 is reported favorably, and I'm going to hand the gavel over to Senator Sharif.
Let's take up tab 8, Senate Bill 1588 on legal tender by Senator Gruters. Senator Gruters, you are recognized to explain the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 1588 is the first step in formalizing and implementing HB 999 from last session. HB 999 recognized gold and silver as legal tender, created definitions related to the coins, custodians, and implemented a sunset clause for June 30th, 2026. Specifically, the bill refines definitions like custodian to focus narrowly on electronic transmission providers to ensure Florida-based precious metal dealers that have been conducting business safely and securely prior to 2025 continue to be able to do so, and eliminates unnecessary examination provisions, and will ratify the rules from the Department of Financial Services and Office of Financial Regulation, and repeals the sunset clause on June 30th. That is the bill, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Gruters. Are there any questions on the bill? Senator Osgood?
Thank you. Senator Gruters, I need you to indulge me for just a moment. I was reading about this and I found different of opinions about the gold and silver and whether it should be a legal tender or not. And I read the Bible a lot. I know a lot of things was done with the exchange of gold and silver. So could you just give us some details about why you feel this is important and what you're actually trying to do with this?
Senator Gruters.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And the bill, the legal tender passed last year, and what this bill will do and what legal tender is, essentially is when you have gold, you can go into a store and buy something today with gold. There's barter all the time. This allows you to buy gold and to hold it somewhere else and then to exchange it as needed. That's basically the ability and allows you the opportunity to do that.
Yes, you're free to go back.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I went to Ghana in 2025, and I learned a lot about gold and the gold that they have there. So this would allow us to legally exchange, like with Ghana or with people that own gold like that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Senator Gruters, there's no other questions for the days, but I have one. I just wanted to ask you, how do you verify that the gold is actually existing if you don't inspect the vault?
Well, thank you, Madam Chairman. That's a very good question, and that's one of the things we're continuing to work on. There's going to be some amendments at the next stop.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions on the bill? Okay, are there any appearance forms? Yes, there is. There is Mike Carter, and he's speaking for. Mike, you can come to the podium. You'll waive in support? Okay, wonderful. And is there any debate on the bill? President Pasadomo?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I like the concept, and which is why we passed the bill last year. I look at it, there's like two kinds of people out there that, as I read the bill, those who are investing, it's kind of a fun thing to hold the gold and the silver and maybe wait till doomsday, I don't know, but just regular folk. But I'm a little troubled by the lack of regulation of bad actors, which could happen because, it's almost in secret. So I think at some point, as you are making amendments, you may want to look at how do we protect the freedom of individuals who want to hold this, for fun or investment or whatever, versus those who are bad actors, money laundering, terrorism, and the like, which I know happens with regard to actual money, but that are in banks, but banks can be subpoenaed and they have to show records. So I think I don't know how you're going to look at the two of them together, but I would hope by the time it gets to me, you'll have found an answer, because I don't know it.
Thank you. Senator Boyd?
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Senator Gruters, for this good bill. I intend to support it and fully embrace it and endorse it. I appreciate you bringing us into the 21st century in Florida. I know federally, David Sachs and others in the White House are working on a variety of forms of currency that maybe some of us that are a little bit older have never really understood, but we're learning and beginning to understand it well. So thank you for taking this on. I know it's a tough issue. I know as well. You'll get it right before it gets to the floor where we can all support it. But thank you for taking this on. I think it's a very important move.
Seeing that there's no other debate on the bill, Senator Gruters, you're recognized to close on the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and President Pastomo, I look forward to working with you and trying to find the right match. At the end of the day, it's this is a freedom bill, and making sure we empower the people to possess something that they should be allowed to possess. And with that, I appreciate everybody's favorable consideration today.
Thank you. Amara, please call the roll on SB 1588.
Senator Boyd? Senator Burton? Senator Hooper? Senator Martin? Senator Osgood? Senator Passidomo? Senator Pizzo? Senator Trunow? Vice Chair Sharif?
Yes.
Chair Gruters?
Yes.
By your vote, SB 1588 is reported favorably. Yes, okay. Let's take up tab 10, SPB 7044 by banking and insurance related to public records, custodians of gold coin and silver coin. Senator Gruters, you're recognized to explain the proposed bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This bill expands current public records exemptions in money services, businesses, and financial institutions provisions to apply the exemptions to records relating to custodians of gold and silver. Custodians are entities that would be newly regulated if legislation passed last year, recognizing gold and silver as legal tenders implemented in July.
Great. Are there any questions on the proposed bill? Seeing none, are there any appearance forms on the bill? Seeing none, is there any debate on the proposed bill? Okay, Senator Gruters moves that SPB 7044 be submitted as a committee bill. Is there any objection? Seeing none, show the motion adopted. Please call the roll on SPB 7044.
Senator Boyd? Senator Burton? Senator Hooper? Senator Martin? Senator Osgood? Senator Passidomo? Senator Pizzo? Senator Trunow? Vice Chair Sharif?
Yes.
Chair Gruters?
By your vote, yes? Okay. You're voting for your own bill, right? By your vote, SPB 7044 is reported favorably as a committee bill. Vice Chair, as Vice Chair, I will hand that gavel back over to you, sir.
Thank you, Senator. And since this is our last meeting in banking and insurance, I just want to specifically thank the staff for all the work that you guys have done. This is some of the most challenging bills that we face, and you guys have done an amazing and excellent job of making sure that we were prepared and all the bills were ready to go. So thank you very much for that. Does any senator wish to be recorded as voting on bills before the committee today? Yes.
Yes, sir. Chair Gruters, I would like to be recorded as voting in the affirmative on tab 1, Senate Bill 326.
Senator Martin.
Same affirmative on tab 1, 326.
Senator Burton.
Thank you, Chair. In the affirmative on tabs 1 and 6.
Any objection? Seeing none, show the motion adopted. Is there any other business before the committee? Senator Martin moves that we adjourn. No objection. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you.